Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the maiden of this one on the beach. I thought I'd give you a quick overview of the setup and the parts I've used. So this is the Finwing Albabird, and you can only buy it from Finwing directly in China, which is a little bit of a pain because the shipping is expensive and it does take quite a long time. For this one to get to me, it took 3 months. So what I ordered from them was the kit itself. I ordered the wing connectors in here, which are an optional extra. They're the same as the mini crosswind ones, so they allow you to connect all the electronics when you slide the wing on. It makes it really nice and easy to remove them. I will give you more details about those later. I also ordered the removable tail hardware. So basically, you'll see inside, I will show you how it comes apart. But basically here, this part separates. And also this, when you undo a thumb screw underneath, this all comes off as well. So it's super portable once you've kind of taken this all apart, because the largest part you have is a single wing. So what I ordered from Finwing also was the motors and the propellers. I didn't order the full P&P. So the motors, I believe, are manufactured by Sunny Sky. But they are branded Finwing Hobby, and they are 2207 1300 kV. And the ESCs, let me just turn this over to show you those. You can't really see them very well, but here they are on the bottom. They are 30 amp little B ESCs, and I only use them just because they've been lying around for a very long time from an old quad that I crashed, so I thought I'd put them to use. Up at the front here, you can see I have the DJI Air unit. I will also go into a little bit more information about DJI. I will give you my first thoughts on these at the end of this overview. And I'm running the standard DJI camera that comes with this, which is in this TPU 3D printed part, and that is mounted to a Turnigy digital 180 servo. That is modified with a couple of resistors so that it will turn around 270 degrees, and it allows you to turn around a pan and see the tail in both directions. For my stabilized HD footage, I am using this thing here, which is the Caddx Peanut, and I'm going to talk about that also at the end in a separate section and give you my first thoughts on that, because it is mixed. So for my control link, I am using Crossfire. You can see this is my Pro Drone dipole out on the wing there. If I turn it over, there is my Crossfire Nano receiver, and that, along with all the other electronics, is connected through those wing connectors, which I will show you shortly. We'll take a quick look on the inside. Not a huge amount to see, but basically I am running the Matek H743 wing flight controller, and it's running INF 4.0, and I have one of the small 220 GPS. And in here you can also see all my wiring to those wing connectors. While we're in here, I'll just show you, this is the hardware for the removable tail. So you just undo those 2 thumb screws, disconnect your elevator and rudder, and this all slides apart. In terms of the servos, so the 4 servos on this for rudder, elevator and ailerons, I'm using the really kind of popular Emax ones. I can't remember the exact model number, but I will put a link to them in the video description. And in fact, I will put a link to this and everything that's on it. I'll put links in the video description for you. I think that's it for the electronics. The battery that I'm running is a lithium ion. It's a 4S2P and it's 7,000 milliamps. So I kind of built this in mind as being my travel plane. So if I go away on holiday, or if I'm going away with the family and there's not much space in the car, this is the one that will come with me. One of the advantages obviously is, because this is my first DJI plane, it means I don't have to take a ground station anywhere with me. So it is simply the plane, the the TX and the goggles, and this is everything I need to fly. So this is what it looks like once it's all broken down. As you can see, this part here has a carbon spar, which kind of slots into the sleeve in here to give that some strength. And here are those wing connectors with the power connectors either side for the ESCs, and then all the individual pins for ESC signal, servo, and then also any extra gear that you have in the wings, such as your crossfire. And obviously that matches that there. Wings have these carbon fiber spars inside them, which slot into a sleeve in the main body there. So yeah, really handy for transportation. And here's a picture of this in the back of my car, amongst all of the family gear for a weekend away. As far as the actual build goes, it was a fairly standard build. The hardware and everything that comes with this and the instructions are actually very good, so it's quite a straightforward one. As you can see, all the things like the linkage that comes is nice and strong, which kind of screws into plywood that's built into the control surfaces, so that's all really nice. It comes with bits of carbon fiber to go into the control surfaces as well. I did laminate the main wings, and I've laminated the underside of the body to protect the paint. And again, I have laminated this part here and the vertical stabilizer again to keep the paint protected basically. So talking about paint, as you can see, I went for a bit of a silly theme, which was Ryanair. And for anyone that's in Europe, I don't need to say any more than this. But anyone that's never heard of Ryanair in other parts of the world, it's basically a budget airline, which people either love or hate, and it's based here in Ireland. So basically it was dark blue paint on the bottom parts here. I used some yellow pinstripe tape here and all the way along here. And then for these kind of decals here, these are vinyl, and I used a device called a cricket. I think you pronounce it cricket, but it's spelled cricket, to cut these vinyls and stick those on. And then, as I said, I laminated over this bottom part to protect that. But I think I might have to put a bit of extra protection under there because it already took a bit of a beating from some of the stones on the beach when I landed. That first flight, I was cruising at around 4 or 5 amps. I used 2,200 milliamps on a 22-minute flight. So yeah, this thing will fly for quite a long time because I have 7,000 milliamps on board with that 4S2P. I can see why everybody quite likes this plane from my little experience I have of it so far. It seems very predictable, nice and stable. It can be acro, it can cruise along nicely. It also can fly nice and slowly, but it also can pick up the speed when you want it to. So I'm looking forward to getting some more flights in with this one. Okay, so my first thoughts on this little guy, which is a Caddx Peanut. For those of you that are not aware, this is basically a reworked version of the Insta360 Go in collaboration with Caddx, and it's designed for FPV and it's also a bit cheaper. So the reason I bought this is because I've recently built a couple of more compact planes that I didn't think would be as suitable for the larger style HD cameras that I already own. So this is like the Albabird and my Super Spec V3 wing. So this is really good quality video at 1440p, and it also has the flow state stabilization, also with a horizon lock, which gives it a kind of gimbal feel. It's not really something I like myself, but if that's what you're into, it has it. But the real good selling point of this is it's super small and really light. So this thing only weighs 26 grams. And also here is a comparison of this camera next to some of my other cameras, which are quite well known, so it should give you a good judge of the scale. So this little camera does have some downsides, and some people won't be bothered by them at all, and other people it will stop them from buying the camera. The first one is that the internal battery will only last for 20 minutes of recording, which isn't a huge issue because you can connect this to an external power supply. So it comes with this magnetic charging cable, which you then connect to a 5-volt power supply. So I connect this to my flight controller, but it also comes with a 5-volt BEC, so you can connect it directly to a LiPo if you want to. Once it is connected to that external power source, it will then record for up to 30 minutes in one go. This 30-minute limit is actually a firmware thing, and it's a bit annoying for people like me flying an iNav plane that would stay in the air for an hour, like the Albabird. And it's a shame because these things are designed to be remotely controlled so that you can start and stop recording from your TX. But unfortunately, iNav just doesn't allow you to do this. There is a workaround which I've seen, and it just involves compiling your own version of iNav, which I don't really have the time or patience for. So 30 minutes is the limit. The next thing is that it has an internal memory of just 32 gigabytes, so you can't put a memory card in it. And this memory is enough for probably 2 30-minute flights before you're going to have to transfer the data off this camera onto your phone or onto your computer, and then you can clear it and fly again. It is a shame that there isn't a micro SD card slot, because it would make the logistics a little bit easier. And for some people, it will be a bit upsetting that this doesn't record in 4K. So 1440p, which is around 2.5K, is the max recording resolution, which doesn't really bother me, but it may upset some people. So a couple of issues I've actually had with this camera so far. I've only done 2 flights with it. Now, the first flight, the file was corrupt. And yeah, I couldn't play it on the app nor on the computer. I've spoken to a couple of other people that I know that own this camera, and they've been using it successfully and never had a file corrupt, so I might have been unlucky there. I will give it another chance. The other issue I've had with this is this kind of strange, kind of dark patch creeping in on one part of the lens, and you can see it coming in and out as it's probably stabilizing the image. So I'm not too sure exactly what that is, but I'll keep an eye on that and see if I can figure out what's causing it. So at the moment, my feelings on this are a bit mixed, but I'm going to give it a chance, because with this size and weight and such good stabilization and image, I really do want this to be a success, because it is perfect for those smaller planes, and even sticking on those bigger planes if you just want a different camera angle. So yeah, I will keep you updated on my thoughts on this as I get a bit more experience with it. Okay, so the last part of this video, I'm just going to spend a few minutes giving my first thoughts on this DJI digital system, which I've had for a while now, since last summer, but I only flew it for a couple of weeks. I temporarily bolted on the air unit to my Mini Talon and did a bit of test flying, and was waiting till I could build a dedicated DJI plane, which obviously I have done this year with the Albabird. Back then, I was only flying on Omni antennas, and I took the Mini Talon out to a decent range at a fairly low altitude, and I have to say I was quite impressed with the results. It did better than I thought, considering this is on 5.8. I know there's a lot of clever tech in these that make that possible. I'm not really too fussed about the 13-kilometer hard cutoff. That doesn't really bother me one bit. So in terms of range on these, I'll be looking to see how they do with the kind of nice low altitude flying, which I normally do in my videos. Obviously, the picture on these is just a lot clearer than anything I've flown before, which is either analog or shark bite. And you know, I can see why people would exclusively fly with DJI, depending on the kind of flying you're doing. Yep, I can see how it would suit the purpose. So there's a few things I'm not too keen on with these. Firstly is the limited OSD information that you can use. I really liked having the second OSD screen where I got all my tuning information. So when I was tuning the PIFs in iNav, I like to see how they were changing, but obviously I can't do that anymore. And the second thing is the DVR recording on these doesn't record the OSD. And that's a real shame, so you haven't got that to reflect on when you're watching back your flight footage. The other thing I'm not too keen on is just generally the size and weight of these things. They're quite big and bulky. But you know, it's not the end of the world. I'm just used to the kind of really nice, slim, light analog goggles I normally fly with. So for me, this won't be replacing analog 1.3. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the kind of flying I do, but that's because they're operating on 5.8. But I will be pushing them to the limits this summer, and I am going to try and fly them along the routes, the nice low river runs that I would do on 1.3 analog, and just see how they fare. It'd be interesting to see how they get on. In terms of antennas, I did straight away switch the stock Omnis out for the nice True RC stubbies. I chose these because, well, first of all, they claim a good performance increase over the standard ones, but also because they're so much smaller than the original ones, and that's because the original ones are dual band, so they work with the FPV drone. So these are only 5.8, which is great because that's all they need. And it means that these can go back in and out of the bag without having to take the antennas on and off. So that's a bonus there. And since I did the flying with the Mini Talon last year, I've also fitted the iFlight crystal patches. Not tested these properly at all because I've only had 2 flights on them, and that was the Albabird on the beach. I really didn't go very far. So yeah, needless to say, the picture was crystal clear the entire flight. No problems at all. It was staying up at 50 megabytes per second pretty much the entire flight every time I looked across. So yeah. At some point I might also try some of the True RC directional antennas just for that extra gain, to see how that helps with my nice low flying. So yeah, as I said, these won't be replacing analog. There's still going to be a lot more analog flying from me on my channel, but the DJI will suit a purpose, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some more flights in with them. At that point, I think we'll end the video there. If I have missed anything or you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for flying Ryanair. Last year, over 90% of our flights arrived on time. We hope you enjoyed yours, and we look forward to welcoming you on board again soon. Ryanair. Low fares made simple.